जय सुरनायक जन सुखदायक प्रणत पाल भगवंता को द्विजहितकारी जय सुरारी सिंधु सुता प्रिय कंता पालन सुर धरणी अद्भुत करणी मरम न जानई कोई जो सहज कृपाला दीन दयाला करऊ अनुग्रह सोई करऊ अनुग्रह सोई जय जय अभिनाशी सब घटवासी व्यापक परमानंदा अभिगत गोतीतम चरित पुनीतम माया रहित मुकुंदा जेहि लागी विरागी अति अनुरागी विगत मोह मुनि वृंदा निसिपासल ध्यावहि गुण गण गावहि जयति सच्चिदानंदा जयति सच्चिदानंदा जेहि सृष्टि उपाई त्रिविध बनाई संग सहाय न दूजा सो करऊ अघारी चिंत हमारी जानिय भगति न पूजा जो भव भय भंजन मुनि मन रंजन गंजन विपति बरूथा मन बच क्रम बानी चारि सयानी सरन सकल सुर जूथा सरन सकल सुर जूथा सारद श्रुति शेषा ऋषय शेषा जाकहु कोई नहीं जाना जेहि दीन पियारे वेद पुकारे द्रवहु सो श्री भगवाना भव भारिधि मंदर सब विधि सुंदर गुण मंदिर सुख पुंजा मुनि सिद्ध सकल सुर परम भयातुर नमत नाथ पद कंजा नमत नाथ पद कंजा जय जय अभिनाशी सब घटवासी व्यापक परमानंदा अभिगत गोतीतम चरित पुनीतम माया रहित मुकुंदा जेहि लागी विरागी अति अनुरागी विगत मोह मुनि वृंदा निसिबासर ध्यावहि गुण गण गावहि जयति सच्चिदानंदा जयति सच्चिदानंदा।
All hear me well? Let's start the YouTube. How to start? Yes.
When one is in the heart, is in tune or in touch with God, and one is operating from, all the actions are happening, and in those periods they are effortless, and the outcomes seem peaceful and sit well. And then when that happened to me a few times, I feel like my ego started saying in the middle that, like now then when a question came up, like to do this or do that, I think that my ego started coming and saying something in a way that it seems like it's not me, it's not the person. But I find that in the beginning I would like, because it was a natural thing and it was unexpected, that thing, it happened. And then because I started maybe expecting it, or I was thinking this is some kind of a magic also, but like a tool and like a strategy that I must now keep checking with my heart. And then I found that I actually, it wasn't. I just wanted to ask you further that what does one do? How does one, I mean, I guess one makes mistakes and then one comes back, but, and I guess it's not even important the outcome. Then I thought that the outcome of the actions, okay, they're wrong. They were all, in any case, before Satsang also, they were all like that. but now it seems like what's more concerning is that one gets pulled out of that space.
We've been talking about these spiritual paradoxes. Effortless versus fully devoted. Vigilance and yet not concern. So it can sound strange. No? How does one be fully vigilant and yet effortless? So all these teachers, including, of course, number one, this one, have fully confused us. What to do? Should we be vigilant or should we let go? Is it? So what is the difference between being vigilant and the checker guy? The checker guy is the most oppressive, especially in the lives of spiritual seekers, where everything it hears in satsang, then it wants to create a report card and keep checking, am I this, am I that, am I doing like this, am I doing well, am I doing badly? Then the masters would say that, no, you must leave this checker guy, be unconcerned, and yet watch, be fully vigilant. So what is the difference between checking constantly and being vigilant? So checking is mostly based on the conclusions that we draw. Checking depends on the report card that we make. Vigilance is more alive. It's just there's a gravitational pull of Maya. There's a natural longing to be in the heart. So vigilance is to be aware, be vigilant to the push-pull. So a simple example could be, for example, in this moment, how do you choose to spend your time? So Maya calls you into what you want to do. Your heart calls you into God's will. So if you keep determining conceptually, oh, like this, oh, not like this, not like this, then we're going to get more and more caught up in the mind. But to just allow yourself to be centered in your heart and to be moved by Him. Not go for the temptation of the mind, not buy into these constructs of the mind, is to remain vigilant. Can we stay like that? This is like the fresh exercise. You need to be vigilant in the fresh. I'm not doing this well, or I am doing this well. Then you will not. It will not help you. Okay? No? And it shows. And if it shows on the outside, and I can say, come, then it definitely shows to us on the inside as well. You see? Without even making that conclusion that I am doing well or I am doing badly, because that whole process is to not be empty. To be empty is just shall we try it? Okay, we'll try to include everyone in Zoom. So I'm being vigilant for all of you. You also have to be, but I'll check around. What is the premise of the exercise? The premise of the exercise is the opposite of what we usually hear. The premise of the exercise is that your being is always one step ahead of the mind. The mind is too slow, and to involve yourself with identity and the mind, you have to take a step back, you have to look back. So stay here, stay here, stay here, stay here. Don't look back at the mind. And by looking back, I mean just, yeah, what? Huh? I'm too sleepy today to do this. Something. You see, so that slows you down in a way. So the idea is to remain fresh. And fresh doesn't mean involved with the content showing up in this moment, not involved with the content of perceptions, just empty even of that, allowing it to flow through, but not judging anything at all. Can we do like that? So no looking back at the mind. You're here. Doesn't matter what the mind is saying. You're here. 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 You don't have to solve anything. You don't have to fix anything. You're not doing it well or badly. You're here. Calm. So, you see? Come out of the mental tangle, whatever it is offering you, just step out. And for a while that will seem more enticing, interesting, something to solve. Maybe feeding you some sort of juice of identity, something to latch on to. Just let it go. Just let it go. You're right here. The mind is trying to catch up with you. It's trying to catch you. It's chasing you from behind. You're organically, naturally much faster than it. It can't catch you if you remain empty, if you remain here. Yeah, come. Don't waste time with anything it has to offer. It's not worth it. As important as it may seem. No? It's just putting you into a bucket of definition. It's saying, this is me, my life is like this is who I am. None of it is true. You're a fresh being. God's presence is alive in you, fresh right now. Stay. You feel the gravitation like a pull from the mind, just you're way ahead of it, much ahead of it. Don't have to worry. There you now. Fast. No slowing down. The mind is too slow, it is too gross. You're much more subtle. Like the flash, you escape. It tries to catch you. And you've already gone, it can't catch you. Unless you turn around and look at it and say, what are you saying? What do you want? Then it may catch you. You are not to turn. You're here. Yes. Stay. There's nothing valuable for you. Stay ahead of the game. Doesn't seem to be working as well on the Zoom. Okay, everyone, here, 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 out of it, wherever you stand. Here, come on. Come out of whatever is caught you in tangle. Doesn't mean anything. Now, here and now, fresh and alive, fresh being right now. Stay. Here, here. Come back to your freshness, to your aliveness right now. Yeah? Yeah? Snap, snap, snap. Unimportant, uninteresting. Remain unconcerned. So this is how you be vigilant. It's actually effortless, it's natural. Initially it may seem to take some effort. Okay? Getting the difference between this and the checker guy, if you were checking, oh, I'm doing so badly, I'm never going to become free, I'll never find God, it becomes more and more difficult. It can seem like vigilance, but it's taken you completely away from being vigilant. You're just mentally concluding. Okay? So remain empty like this. Yeah, come, leave it. Just leave it. I don't want to take names. I see you. Leave it. I can just generally say that. It'll hurt, it'll hit 50% of the audience. Yeah. Is it that I look away? You're getting a sense of what I'm saying? This is how you are at your most innocent. Led by God. Okay? So don't try to know. The trying to know is troublesome. Innocence is not trying to know. To remain simple, to remain empty.
this exercise is really nice. It's kind of an empowering one.
Yeah.
Because otherwise...
Yes, but don't go there right now.
Okay, no going.
No. Never actually, not even later. Because the minute you start to frame, you see, it seems like a helpful framing initially, but soon we are in the frame rather than in the empty. Because we feel naked without our conclusions. Like, but क्या हो रहा है? हो क्या रहा है फिर? You know, so then you say, this is what it's doing. So it seems to provide some crutches, some benefit, but actually it can be very tricky because then that becomes an expectation, it becomes a conclusion. So then you can make a conclusion this time that it went very well. The next time it happens, you'll say, oh, but this time it's not going so well. Or last time it went well. So don't make any conclusions about well or not. Still from the mind, so don't go there. It's empty. Yeah. And be careful of the yes but. Yes, but that but is like one dhadam. The minute you buy into the doubt, do. Yes, but I can't always live like this. I can't go to work like this. I can't. Then those frames, those narratives will become compelling. And everything can happen from here. Whatever needs to happen can happen from here. So don't have an expectation that I want to be like this, but then work should happen, or work should not happen, or this should happen, this should not happen. Because that will burden it. Be empty. His will means it is not our concern what happens or not. That is to live in His will. So are you seeing how vigilance, innocence, living in His will, all of that is actually like that. Just be supremely innocent, don't understand.
I was just noticing that when it's work, say for example, I went to meet a few doctors today, I had to share a few things. So when I had to pick something, just like that, as like things just came out. I just shared, and I noticed that when a friend of mine asked for some advice, so I had like a bunch of things to say and but I wasn't sure if it is from a place of conditioning or if it's coming naturally from a place that I don't know. It's just
We can't be sure about anything from the past. So it is now. Now where are you coming from?
This I reported from memory.
So okay, now leave that. But don't conclude that I can't speak then.
No.
Because we don't know. No, that's the experiment. It needs patience, it needs faith, but not like I'm being patient, patience. I'm having faith. Okay? He's trying to let me also fix that work thing at the same time.
No, I'm just proud of question. Is it like being attentive or being aware also very similar to being vigilant?
In a way, being aware, of course, is beyond any of that. You see, but the way we use aware in the world, yes, to be attentive in a way, but not really about the content of the world, because we can get then stuck in. This is keeping me in the moment, so I have to just grasp at the content of the world, you see? And that is, it's not about this. It's about getting the difference. Just allowing the content to flow through. But you are not trying to use it, you're not trying to use the content as an anchor. You're not trying to use the content as an anchor. Like if I just keep saying what's here, then I won't get involved with the mind. Okay? So how to stay away from the mind? So many people get into that trap of trying to be in the present moment in that way. That I can just, but you see that is very tiring for your system, isn't it? You try it for some time, it seems to work, but you get tired, you want to sleep after some time. At least I do. So I can't do it that way. It has to be from a place of ease, and to allow all these, the stream of perception to flow through. If you try to hold on to that, then it seems like another activity that we have to grasp. So the sheer open and empty is like this, pure perception. But unconcerned about the perception. Pure perception is unlabeled, unnarrated perception. Pure perception doesn't mean I'm only perceiving. That is a mistake that some of us make, or in the way it is said, maybe that mistake can happen. That when we say pure perception, it can seem like, oh, I'm only perceiving. It's just, the perception remains pure, empty of labels, unadulterated perception. But I'm being or awareing more than I'm perceiving. Perception is just happening naturally in the process. Mike?
So, Father, you mentioned, as it is said in the past, a lot of sages have talked about it. A lot of times when you're sitting, you can almost see the I, your ego, in perception. It's talking, it's doing things, and you can begin to separate that is not you, right? And you can hear the birds, you can hear the sounds, you can hear everything. But somewhere at the back, this phrase, I am, that you read and everybody's talked about it, you have talked about it. It is the I there, even though it is not the I, your ego I, still for me seems to put you in a loop. There is still the I, right? Versus in pure perception, you're letting everything flow and you don't even want this I business. So maybe if you can talk a little bit more about why do the great ones say I am that I am. And for me, it's just, right when you're sinking in, your mind throws this, okay, this is the I am, and then you go into another loop. So I just wanted you to talk about it.
Yes, I hear your question. So let's look at for a moment, continuing to be empty like we are. Like, how would I do the play acting of being an individual? The ego is the idea of I am something. There is no boundless ego. So, if I was to now, from this emptiness, take on a boundary to be true about me. You see? So let's try and do that experiment which you said, that you can see the ego play out. You see? And maybe you notice that the minute you return to the seeing rather than the involvement with the boundary, then the strands of the ego are not so strong anymore. They start to thin out, and maybe for that moment, maybe even at a distance. No? So now I'm boundless. You see? Now, when I say I am boundless, for example, you see, who am I referring to? We are not saying Ananta is boundless. Ananta obviously can't be boundless. You see? Ananta is the name for this body-mind. Yeah? And those of you who consider Ananta the Guru is just a name for your inner Sadguru presence. You see? So, when it is said that I am that or I am boundless, is it referring to the separate individual entity? Because the ego is the idea of an entity. Okay? So why do the sages then say that I am? Bhagwan said something very important on this matter. He said that till I am, no trouble. When I am something, that is when the trouble starts, and by definition then that is where the ego starts. But unidentified beingness is that same pointer from the sages saying just be, or just to remain empty of identification, empty of attachment. You see? So got a sense of it. One is a made up me, that I am so good, or I am so bad, I am enlightened, or I am bound. These are boundaries. Every construct that we take to be true about ourselves then becomes a boundary. Okay? It's like saying that if I give you a task that for the next 2 hours, just imagine yourself to be somebody who lives in Barbados or something like that. You see, try to bring attention to thoughts about living on the beach in Barbados or something for 2 hours, and give that identification a name, gym, whatever, and you keep building on, oh, my family was like this, they came from the Bahamas, I need to take a holiday. But so then in 2 hours, there will be some identification, some conditioning around the Jim who is from Barbados. You see? So it's like, in a way, saying you watch a movie which you find the character very relatable, and then the movie is over, and then somebody comes and tells you, oh, in the sequel of this movie, this one dies. So then you say, oh, that hurt. How? You see? Because there's identification, there's conditioning around that identity, so that I am something less than. So I am Bala, I am a father, I am at work, I am, this is my money, this is my house, this is my family. All of these attributes then become the conditions which define the ego. So the ego is basically a set of conditions being believed in by, we'll come to the by in a moment, but for the moment it is fine to say that if there was not a single condition being bought, there is no separation, there is no ego. So empty of that, and that is in a way the exercise that we're doing now also. The beauty of this exercise is unattachment, non-grasping, is that it doesn't matter whether you have 1,000,000 conditions or you have only 2 or 1. You see, when you're empty of all of that. So as high as the highest sage in that moment, we are. You see, so whether you're Bhagwan or you're just little old me, when you're empty of conditions, you are the same. You see? Now, this part is clear for everyone? So the ego is a name for attachment or belief in our conditioning, and then that when we are oppressed in that, when we are in the mental prison of this conditioning, of these limitations, then when our expression seems to operate under that burden, then we say that person's being egoic, or I was being egoic, or I am being egoic. Okay? So this is when we are egoic. Now, we just said that empty of all of that, we are the same. Okay? Now, what is that sameness? Have we ceased to exist? We haven't ceased to exist. Even perception is here. You're hearing, you could be empty. You could not be identifying with the body, and yet the centrality of this visual perspective may continue. All of this world may be perceived, and yet you're not identified. You're not being egoic. You see? So that being, empty of being something, is called the I am. You see? So that is the I am, because I am. Even this, somebody says, so who's perceiving? Now, unless we become very intellectually Advaitin, like with the innocence of a child, you ask them, so who's looking at this hat? Or who sees this hat? They will say, I am. You see? Even before, like a very young age, when they just start to speak, 11 months, 12 months, what age do they start to speak? I'm becoming old. So, they will respond in those innocent ways, you see? But empty of any conditions or pride or sense of ownership in that moment. You see? So, empty of all identification. If I was to say, who's aware of this perception? You say, I am aware. You see? But that I am is not adulterated by conditions of pride, of unworthiness, of any of these ideas. So you're empty of the ego and you're just being. And that being is whose being? It belongs to I. But that I is the I of reality, is it? The I of awareness. So that pure awareness, which is aware, it doesn't change even in sleep state. Then the adjunct of am wakes up within that, and in the light of this I amness, then the world appears. You see? And the world appears, then all these play of light and sound happens, and also in the play of light and sound, one plays that of these mental constructs, language in our head, which is offering us these proposals that I am something, I should be better, I can learn this, I can. So attaching to those, as harmless as they may seem initially, like I like green coconut better than brown coconut. You may think like, what's so egoic in that? You see? But notice that, it happened because when I was a child, I had this tree. You see, so the whole narrative is stuck in the most harmless seeming notions. So to remain empty, innocent of even that, is to remain empty of ego. You see? So this I, which is pure awareness, then gives birth to this am, which is pure being, I am. It is I am. See, nobody says, I was asleep, but then somebody woke up. They say, I woke up. It's most natural to say, I woke up. Because it is the I itself in its manifest aspect as being, as am, which arises, which suddenly the light comes on. Nobody knows how, nobody knows when, nobody knows why. It just comes. This I am comes. You see? Now in this I am, imagine a world in which it was impossible to identify. This world just wakes up. Everything is. But then some may have a complaint against the game designer saying, it's nice, visually nice, but it's not relatable. You see, like we see many movies, we call them art films or something like that. You see, which may look, even some of them don't look visually nice, but suppose it's visually very compelling, but it didn't have a narrative you could resonate with. You see? So, our primitive, lame sounding theory is that entertainment without relatability was not enough juice for God playing this game. God said, let me make it so that when I play the game, not only do I have the body of James Bond or whoever, I also have a narrative that I have been given this mission, I have to rescue this country or this prime minister of this country, I have to save the world in this way. You see? And in that, picking up the narrative, this I am takes up the idea that I am James Bond or whatever. In the same way, we are playing the same game. I am Ananta, I am Bala, I am this, I am that. And now, to not identify, to have no narrative, no mission, then what happens? The narrative of the game still continues. Like you stop paying attention to the subtitles doesn't mean the subtitles of the movie will stop. They may stop at one point, but initially it will seem like the narrative continues. But that narrative is designed to make you identify as the character in the game, as the character around which the game seems to be centered, out of whom you seem to be perceiving this world. But that is the same for the dream, that we seem to be perceiving a world out of the central perspective of this character. So to be free from that identification, from that one, is to be free from the ego. But the I, so that is why the sages have said, Bhagavan said, I removes the I and yet remains the I. So that is impossible for the mind to understand, isn't it? It removes the false I, the I am something, the egotism is removed, and yet the true I, the Nirguna Brahman, that is our true reality, remains. That is why it's called self-realization. It's still the self, but it's not a limited self, it is not an egoic self. The difference between big S self and small s self is very big. Got a sense of what I'm saying?
I'm experiencing boundaries.
Yes. Are you experiencing boundlessness?
That's what I'm trying to say.
In a way you are, like you're not experiencing a boundary.
No. So then?
1 second.
So when you said don't make that conclusion, it's let it go. But now I'm asking.
The conclusion offers itself like a very juicy chocolate. No? Is that, finally I found some meaning in that whole process that we did. This is what it means. I am like this. So when it comes like that and really close, and if you notice yourself, just because that ball is better dropped than caught. This is the only game like that.
So, in the what I find is a little bit of a, but I know this is, but this is words, and in a way,
Let me get a glimpse of
grammatically
it.
also impossible not to say. But
Huh?
I just, like what gets to me is like, suppose I am in like feeling really blissful, then that feeling that pops up, I'm feeling very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That feeling says I'm feeling very good.
There's something else that comes in. So to come to that feeling of feeling very good, I have actually put that person, Sonali, in aside.
Abeyance.
Yeah, like please now, you know,
Yeah.
enough is enough. Yeah, and then I'm in another zone, and then I'm feeling. But then when what happens is that I come out of that because I then feel like I'm the experiencer of this.
You feel?
Yeah, sometimes, and then that.
So wait. So that one word is the whole difference. No? As long as you feel whatever, it's fine. But if that feel becomes thing, then that is the start of trouble. So you feel very good. Even if you go to some pilgrimage or some beautiful holiday spot, you may feel very good.
Yeah.
The minute you start to think about feeling very good, that this feels very good, then it says, okay, so maybe I should move here, maybe I can just live here, all of that, then that feeling very good then becomes distant. Then we say, oh, okay, now I got too caught up in all of this, I want to taste that which I first experienced. Like that. So then because we have concluded about it, it is no longer just being perceived as pure feeling, but now as the idea of good and bad, right and wrong. All of this is the same trap. So don't determine any good or bad. Okay? And then we start to notice that, like when you get used to remaining empty, then you start to notice the texture of feeling and the texture of thinking. Okay? And both can be allowed, but to buy into the invitation from the thought, okay, I'll help you make sense of what this is. This is like an itch that you want to scratch. I'll tell you what's happening. You're fine. You're just fine. Everybody's fine, no? Like this. Everyone is fine. Impossible to be troubled. Fine. Then it says, let me tell you what's happening in your life. You know, the people at your work, they all hate you. And nothing changed really. You were just sitting. And it seemed like you went from just heaven to hell in two thoughts, Just in two thoughts. You can just make that leap. You just find like that. What's happening to you now? Nothing. But yesterday, she told me like this. Is it? That is exchanging heaven for hell. And it doesn't do it so blatantly, especially for those of you in Satsang. It doesn't say, oh, come listen to me, I'll tell you about horrible things. No, because it knows then it'll be caught out and wrong. So first it'll say, this is very nice. No? I feel I'm really deepening in Satsang. Father said those 4 truths about God. Very nice, like that. But then when he was saying like that, Pankaj was looking at me like this. I don't know what problem he has with me. Like that. Like that. So you went from where to within a few thoughts, it all changed. No? So it lures you in with the bait. The bait can be very like this. Can be just, don't know. You don't have to be concerned. You always looked at me nicely, don't worry. So I'm just taking for example that these kind of things. So this is what we have to be vigilant to, but not get into the check-in trap. That is the whole theme of Satsang. That we'll come to the anchors in a moment. But you're getting a sense of just unanchored innocence. Unanchored, open and empty. Isn't it? Just empty. Do you get a taste of it? So it always invites you in with some value. It doesn't say, I'm going to make your life terrible. You see, come. Unless it's, some people it does that. Those who are fully caught up in the mind and they find it too difficult to escape, then it just gets to its true oppressive, bullying nature. But mostly the ones that it is still fighting for, it say, come, I'll tell you something very nice, this. Yeah? So this human, even need to gossip is like that, no? It starts off very friendly and loving each other. Then after, like this. Like that also, she said. Like this. Then soon we hate her, no? We started just feeling so good, like she said. And soon we are into these kind of territories. So don't fall into any of that decision, any of that conclusion making, because that's how all the trouble starts. So every sage in the world has known this. Do you feel like a Tulsidas ji would not have known that? It's fine. He would have known. But what happens is that life teaches us that in certain environments it may be conducive or easier to remain like this. Like you may feel in Satsang, I can be like this. They find that usually in the human condition, because so much this push-pull of Maya is happening, we need an anchor to hold on to this. Hold on to being empty, strangely enough. So every sage is provided some anchor. Isn't it? Nisargadatta Maharaj said, stay with the sense of I am. It's empty. But if you want, just return to sense of being. And you can put that same thing in so many ways. You can say that God is here, stay present to the presence. You can say it in hundreds of ways. But basically it anchors you, help you remain empty and not go into any of that. So sit in your heart temple, stay at God's feet. Surrender to God is the same. Remain simple and innocent. Don't take on any persona, identity, mask. And empty. Hukum Rajai Chalna, same thing. You can't follow the will of God unless you're empty of yourself and staying with His presence. Surrender, love, faith, patience, all of these are just meant to help us remain like this, empty of ourselves. Empty of ourselves is full of God. Saint Teresa of Avila said, when I'm empty of me, He works on my heart. Same thing. So it's just all the pointers are for us to be empty of our false self, the smallest self. So here it is where the expression of the Buddhists and the Vedantin may be very different. So Buddhists at this point may say there is no capital S self. I see that there is no small s self, then nothing remains. Is it? And the Vedantin will say to that Buddhist, and maybe my bias for Vedanta will show, but we'll try to look at it equally, but they say that you said you see that there is no self. You see. That is the self. That which remains when everything else goes. And this is one of my favorite stories in history. Because it could have resolved so many needless debates and battles between Buddhism and Advaita. So, Nagarjuna and Chandrakirti were at the forefront of this. Nothing exists, there is no self, there is no anything. You see? They actually got attacked by Buddhists, like verbally attacked hopefully, and so they said, oh, if there is, because if you went to them and said, is there a Buddha, they would say no. There is no Buddha. Is there this? No. Is there Buddha nature? No. None of that. No. So they said, why you call yourself a Buddhist then? What are you doing here? You see, what makes you a Buddhist if there is no Buddha, there is no Buddha nature? You must leave the Sangha. And they were attacked fairly viciously. So then I read in this very nice book, they said that then Nagarjuna clarified that your misunderstanding, you see, your misunderstanding. He said that I'm merely saying that any grasping, whether it is even grasping at the highest concept, you see, will lead to separation, will lead to duality, will lead to suffering. So remain empty of even the concept of Buddha, remain empty of everything. You see? So that's why open and empty is a conceptual being empty, not an empty limbo life. You see? It is a full life, full of presence, grace, full of the presence of being, which is Buddha nature. So, at the root of it, the neti and the negation of Nagarjuna was the same, only the final conclusion, the Vedantin was saying that empty of all of this, you come to the ineffable Nirguna Brahman. Nobody has said it's affable. Ineffable Nirguna Brahman, the ultimate reality, the supreme reality. And Nagarjuna's perspective was that which is ineffable must be left without words. It is the same as what Wittgenstein also said. Yeah? For which words cannot be found we must stay silent. So just two different approaches, but the insight has to be the same. So all spiritual pointings, whichever spiritual path we are in, it is to empty us from this false identification of ego. And given that in so many thousands of years of history, we have seen the human condition, and we have seen that this monkey of the ego, the tiniest element of it seems to always remain no matter what. You see? Then what is the sanctuary for that which remains, or a refuge for that which remains, is at God's feet, or in a surrender, or in a bhakti. That is why jnana and bhakti are two sides of the same coin, two wings of the same bird.
Father, hello. Um, It feels a bit difficult to anchor myself in my heart at the moment. And it's been like that maybe for a week.
Stay, leave all that. Where are you? Okay. I said stay now, she's vanished. Can you all see her? Yeah. So now stay here, leave the past alone. No matter what it is offering, just leave it alone. Okay. How to leave it alone? Just leaving it alone, or if it seems impossible to leave it alone, then offer it to God. And the mind says, oh, it seems very difficult right now for me to offer it to God, then offer that to God.
And the mind says it seems easier with you.
Yeah, so it says that, so offer that to God. Father, this is what the mind is saying. That's it. Job done. So to leave it alone is to be empty, is to leave it to God. To leave it to God is to be empty and remain with God.
You know, the half an hour timesheet that you gave me, even if I didn't do half an hour because I didn't find the tool, and it seemed a good reminder. I feel I need to revert to that somehow.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll check in with you later if I get out.
Get out of this first.
If, yeah.
Hmm? Come. You don't have license to story. How many of us feel like we have a license to a story? Huh? Don't have license. Cancelling that license.
It
Story.
does feel, Father,
Is that a story? Today is this kind of satsang.
it's very good.
Very good.
It feels if I close my eyes, it's easier to see a story.
That's not a story. No, no, not there. What would you say to a friend who you know that if they were to walk in that way, they would only get into trouble? The way in which they are walking, not the style in which they are walking, the way, the path on which they are walking. If they were to walk on it, it is only going to lead to trouble. What would you say to them to stop them?
Stop.
That's it. You must not do with the mind what I do at the end of my eating window of fasting. The eating window is getting over, you just grab whatever you can and just stuff it into your mouth. So you must not feel that, okay, from now on, I'm just going to be empty from tomorrow. So today, let me just indulge in my mind.
I actually just had fasting yesterday.
Okay, come. Everybody's waning off a bit. What story is so compelling? What is your story? Come on, everybody. There's a story. Okay, theme of the story. One of the 4 themes. Stream? Anybody who doesn't say means relationship. Yeah? Next. Huh?
Yeah, that's
Theme? No story. Work? Relationship. Huh? Food? Because I said about the fast. Work and relationship. Or relationship with work. But stories, I don't know this boundless. So spiritual story. Oh. Health story. No story. Spiritual story. Huh? Health story. Netflix. Something good is on Netflix. Oh. Okay. Explain that. Story. Relationship. Again, round 2. Huh? It's the same old stuff. It's the same old stuff. Illness, physical weakness, work, relationship. Same stuff. What's that? Getting. Purpose, meaning. So same. Spiritual story. It's meaning. No?
Father, may I ask something? So, because you said story, like energetic pull, it does not seem like story. So yeah, what is it then?
Yeah. So the energetic pull in itself, what is it?
It feels like it's something almost physical, like energetic.
Yeah. So everything is in that way, everything that we perceive in that way is energetic. No? So suppose that, let's try this together. Taste the energy, taste the perception, but don't label it good, bad, should be here, should not be here, nothing. How much of your space does it take? Yeah, yeah, it's like that, just that simple. Because when we say this should not be or this is bad, that is when it becomes a story. No energy can hurt consciousness. No energy can fill up consciousness.
Yeah, or also like because it's just so much identified consciousness with purity. When the feeling is not purity here, then it's just labeled, and this is where the thing started. Yeah.
But purity and impurity itself are labels, so don't worry about them.
But it feels like I never experienced consciousness or what you are bringing us without this purity. So this is where maybe confusion arises. Like whenever I experience it, there is cleansing, there is purity.
So if you were to just think about purity, like constantly just think about purity, then will you experience this consciousness? She had probably somebody, some customer. It's okay, he'll come back. Yeah? Keep thinking, I have to be like this, I have to be like this. It only happens when I'm like this, I have to be like this. Does that bring us closer to that?
Father, may I speak?
Yes.
Father, there is a lot here of this concept of being sattvic for God. To be nice or be patient or be still or so that plays as a story quite a bit. It's the observation behavior of this person.
Yeah. So we have to see the dichotomy. That's exactly what I was saying, that whether it is that I need to be pure to experience God or to meet God, or whether it is I have to be empty to meet God, or I have to be a certain way to meet God. Whatever the checking from the mind would be, or the thought pattern would be to continue in that thought pattern. So suppose we were to keep saying, but I have to be empty, but I have to be pure, I have to be empty, I have to be pure. I just, I need to be empty to be pure. You see, we'll not get there. We'll not actually be empty of this needing to be empty. See? So start now. Just now. See? How to let it go? Just know that God is here. Either you just know that God is here, or know that by your grasping it's only going to make matters worse, not better. Easy. Just God is here, what is my business? So that's an example of an anchor. Like you need these anchoring pointers. 1 or 2 is enough for anyone. Just whatever helps you remain empty. God is here, what is my business?
Ananta-ji,
Yes.
can I say my story now for a week now?
No story.
No? I mean, it seems when I really have a physical pain, like for a week now I have a tooth, so much pain in my teeth, and it seems like really not possible to be open and empty, because all the focus is just automatically goes there.
Yeah.
And I never experienced, so there was never openness when I experienced pain. And this seems like, I don't know.
Nice. So, the open and empty that is being spoken about is not what happens to attention. It is just an open and empty of this. Conceptually open and empty. So if your attention is fixating on that sensation, and my attention would also do exactly the same thing if I had a toothache for a week. Okay? So either remain empty conceptually or remember God.
Remain empty conceptually, Ananta-ji.
Yeah. Like do the opposite of what you're trying to do right now. Yeah, that's better.
Because you done this, Ananta-ji, is not me.
Because?
It was you, Ananta-ji, is not me who have done anything in a meeting like this.
Yes, so just basically I'm thinking, don't think about it.
Yeah.
And if you have to think, then only think about God.
Thank you.
Very good, very good. No problem.
I'm back with you.
Yeah.
I need to come back with you.
Story or no story? This one took a holiday for some months. No? This is all because of Aniko, actually. That's my story. She reminded me that day of this version.
Took a holiday.
Took a holiday. She said that and took a holiday. Where did she go? But, where am I getting the but?
My internet connection was like my connection, my heart, it just keeps dropping.
Another way to look at being empty is to only be moved by God. The same thing. That is when all of spirituality comes to the test in a way. You see? Just whatever I want, whatever I think I need, whatever I think I deserve. To follow the will of God, hukum rajai chalna, in a way is a culmination or the beginning, whichever way you look at it. What would God have you do right now? You know that? So that's the key, to not presume anything about spirit. Like, let spirituality not become an exercise in presuming spirit. You know what I mean? Because our spiritual notions can then become just, oh, this is what God would have me do. But has He told us that? Or has He moved us like this? That's the point. Feels very frustrating, no? Good.
Like it's something, like the minute you say this,
Yeah.
it's very frustrating.
So in the guise of the label of frustration, the mind gets its way of saying, I will not let God move me, because then frustration deserves a different level of treatment. See what I'm saying? So whether it feels frustrating or joyful or angry or just peaceful, you see? Either of those conditions don't mean that we can say, oh, now because it's like this, I can leave God's will. See what I mean? Yeah. Say it, don't worry, engage.
And it feels like a fail battle, like it feels like I have to do something.
To be empty
Yeah.
and wait for God. What do you have to do?
Not find when
That is a non-doing. So it's like saying, you just stay at home till tomorrow evening, you are going to win $1 million. Huh? Then somebody says, oh, but that's a bit frustrating because it feels like I have to do something. And then the one says, do something. They say, yeah, I have to stay at home. You see? So, that which is most natural for us is all that we have to do. Now, if that which is most natural feels like a doing, then we better do it. Yeah.
It's not the most natural that feels frustrating.
Yeah.
It's like how you just say, no, it's not vigilant of it, so check out that comes. It's
Correct.
not being able to do this, like every time it's a report. So that is frustrating.
Yeah.
And every time you say this, I'm just like, it feels very, like there's immediately like a tightening, like the nail of body. So,
Yeah, so I move the rook to h3, remain open and empty, and immediately the response comes, the queen goes to g5 or something, saying, but I've tried this for 12 years, not been able to do it. See? So what is frustrating? The instruction to remain only moving in God's will, or the response on the mind? Because I'm just saying, don't have to do anything at all, literally, or not do. Maybe. Then, what is the counter move from the mind?
one is the instruction, that is. One is the instruction, listening to this is that is frustrating also. But also
How can listening, sorry, today is that kind of satsang. So, how is listening frustrating?
you have to follow it.
So the following is frustrating. Wait. It's very important to clarify. So I could be saying blah blah blah, blee blee blee, blue blue. Not frustrating. It's the position that we have to make about it, which can lead to frustration. It's like the teacher saying exam is coming next week. So it's not only saying that it's coming next week is frustrating, that we have to prepare for the exam next week, that is frustrating. So now which part of this, if there is an instruction, which part of following that instruction is scary?
The not being able to do it, that you asked me for something and
Yes.
I'm not able to like live up to that. So that's very gets to me each time. That each time I hear it in satsang, I'm like, I'm not being able to.
Do it. So what is the repercussion you face from me? You see, so it's just the self-inflicted sort of pressure, which is only going to be counterproductive and just gets in the way of just being innocent. So be innocent. Yeah, you did it. That's it. Now did it. Now did it. Now. Huh? Yeah. So when we say not being able to do it, it's just fooling us, not the mind. Because it's a gift from the moment. Done, 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 done. You can record like a constant done, done, done. Or like in the games you have those points, no? Ta-tang, 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 every moment, ta-tang, ta-tang, ta-tang. The minute you get involved with, oh, I've been doing well, or I've not been doing well, that is when we stop.
So the instruction is not frustrating. Your mind says this is frustrating.
Being vigilant is not frustrating, it is the checker guy which is frustrating.
Yeah. Now I see that too.
Don't
It
check
would
now.
never be valid to say it's frustrating. If you try and you fail, then that's not frustrating. No, I know the answer. Here there goes down. What else you want to do now?
Today is Chhadde wala ka satsang. So there are two types, sorry my dear, there's two types of satsang. One is leave it, leave it, leave it, leave it, leave it. And the other is hold him, hold him, hold him, hold him, hold him. Those are the only two satsang. Basically, hold him or behold him or be held by him, whichever way you look at it. No third strategy is needed. Yeah?
Rather, from leave it to hold him, what can be
No, it's either. It's either. Either. So what are you doing now? Either you leaving him or holding him. That's all. You're not understanding it. You're not trying to figure it out. Are you leaving it? Just leave it. Just leave it. If you need to hold, then only hold him. If you are tired of holding him, then leave everything. You need to hold, only hold him. If you don't want to hold anything, leave everything. That is Jnana and Bhakti. Simplify or complicated. Huh? Leaving, holding, leave. Yeah. You don't need a third instruction. It's on the mind also.
Anantaji? Hello, hello.
Hello, my dear.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Thank you for reminding me that I have a tendency to hide. But I wanted to ask about if any stories show up. I mean, does it make a difference if they
Either leave it or hold him. If the story comes, either leave it or hold him. Which one you want to do?
I want to leave it.
Leave. Just leave.
Leave. Yes.
Today is this kind of satsang. Next time when you come, you get a different avatar.
Thank you.
You continue, but because what can happen is that sometimes when interactions happen like that, then the mind uses that as an opportunity to do post-mortem. I should have said this, or why did he say that? You see, so you have to continue to leave it. Just leave it. And you can change the option. If you don't want to leave it, if you want to hold, then just hold him.
Because I have I mean there are stories. My mind calls them like that they are conscious stories or just they're just stories, right? Doesn't matter.
Which is the story that is most difficult for you to leave?
Like about I owe something to my mother. Like sometimes they come like they catch me, like the very tiny subtle stories to come like from conscience. I don't know. Like
Yes. So when this story comes that I owe something to my mom, does it make us do something more kind, compassionate, loving to our parents, to our mother?
yesterday, for the first time, perhaps I tried to pray for my mother.
Yeah, very good.
And something. I'm just thinking, is it possible, like, before I return something as a material goods to her, something, is it possible to become free before it happened? I mean,
Yeah.
to ask God to become clear of this, to be.
There is no restriction as to what you can ask God for. You can bring everything to Him. You don't have to judge yourself in any way. So what you actually did to pray is to attempt to behold Him or to be held by Him. So if you did the right thing, if something is there that you can't leave, it is best to be held by Him or to be with Him, which is to pray.
And because there is like she once told me, it was even last year, it's like returning memories. She said that I will I will polish her shoes in the place where you don't go to heaven but the other one, like wait for God, like the purgatory or something like this.
Purgatory, yeah.
Yes, she told me this
Polish your
and it
shoes?
stayed with me, like it hurt a little bit.
Well, at least it's good we have shoes in purgatory. Sounds like good news.
Yeah, so I wish I don't go there, but okay. I will try to, and I apologize for my pride and
No,
my stupidness.
nothing like that. There's nobody more stupid than me, so you don't have to apologize. Don't have to worry about these things. So, just, I may be making light of it, but really, if these two become our only options in life, that we just leave it or just hold Him. And depending on your temperament, you can say, leave it to Him or hold Him. See, okay, so let's put it this way. The mind is telling us something. This thing is a problem, suppose. It's saying da 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 da, this problem. How would just leave it work? Because when we just leave it, we are actually leaving it to Him. Is it? The one that is running this universe anyway, just leave it to Him. And if you are to hold something, why hold a grudge? Why hold grievances? Why hold pride? Why hold resentment? Yeah. Why hold anger? Why hold lust? Why hold greed? Hold him.
Father,
Yeah.
um, I wanted to thank you, but I also wanted to expose something here. I think at the same time. Um, yeah. Because I don't think I was taking you literally when you were giving us the instructions that you were giving us, and
Even when?
yeah.
You mean
Just
forever, since the beginning or to now? It's all right if it is true. It's fine. Because really, the point is to come to the place where we can take it literally. Yes.
yes, I don't think I was when it comes to surrender, especially, and just I'm very grateful for this last years of satsang, because I think that the prayer and your guidance was, and just life, just God making it so easy to see that I'm completely useless without him, and all of that has made it more accessible to just give to him. And I'm not sure it was a lack of trust in God, even though your truths about God are beautiful pointing. I think it was more about not trusting this false me, and in that I was involving this conditioning into the surrender instead of just making it all about him. It was a very subtle way of, oh, but I'm not doing enough, or yes, but something else is missing, or some condition, as if God had any conditions.
Eric.
Uh, but I also want to expose that every time that there is insight or anything like that, pride is the quickest to come, and just to bring it here, because it comes very, very quickly and often. And I see that it's the same thing, that I only need to give it to God moment to moment, and that's all I need to do. I can see that, but it's very persistent. It's just so crazy that the mind wants to take hold even of that, and I can't do anything without God.
Very good. It's very good to notice that pride is the first one to start building up. But just that simple way of just noticing this and offering it to God, saying, God, please help, because pride gets me so fast.
Yes, it's further.
When we make that prayer, for example, so we'll talk about trust in a moment, just remind me, but this may be a good example. So I say, God, please help me with my pride. In what way do we make that prayer, and what is our construct when we make it? That He's here and He can hear me more than the people sitting around me, or less, or He's at a distance, or what is our construct?
Are you asking?
So faith gives us this construct of the fact of His existence here, an all-knowing, all-hearing, all-seeing presence being here, but it is always an act of faith. You see? So that exercise of that faith, that exercise of that love, which is very important. Yeah. But it's very possible for it to just be like lip service. Oh, not that you're doing that, but I'm just saying that we may say, oh, I'm praying because Father told me to pray, or he said like this, like that. You see, but we don't actually feel like God is with us, He's here. Until that, so that our letting go and that feeling that He's here are completely in relation with each other. It cannot happen in isolation. You see, so that is what I wanted to say about trust, that you said that it was not about lack of trust in God, but more of trust in the false one. You see, but actually it's a similar thing. You see?
What I meant was about a lack of trust in myself, that I was involving this conditioning into the process. I was saying, I'm not doing enough, something is missing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't making it all about God.
Yes, my child. But see if you can hear it this way. When we say that I was getting the me involved, I did not trust myself fully, we were still trusting in the me to get us out of this mess in some way, even our lack of trust in Him.
Yes, it's true. I understand. Yeah.
It's like if I knew that I'm a mosquito and I have to get a bottle of water from the fridge, you see, then to say in what way, how can I improve my trust so that one day I'll be able to get the water from the fridge, is also having more trust in ourselves than we should, in our false selves than we should, isn't it?
Yeah. It was very subtle, Father. I want to say sorry, but
these things are very subtle, that every time we turn to me, even if it is in words of despair and despondency, it is to trust me more than to trust God.
Yeah.
So our letting go of the false me and our development of trust in the true one are part of one movement, one deepening of love in our heart.
Yes.
You see, and that is why my feeling is that godless spirituality doesn't work, or even if it seems to have some temporary benefits or byproducts, it doesn't bring us any lasting love, it doesn't bring us any lasting peace. Because it's like saying, just this dance, this tango, I'm going to just do it by myself. It's not going to happen that way. So I'd be very wary, I'd be very suspicious actually if someone said that I've been able to let go, but I have no trust in God or faith in God. That would be very, very rare in the human condition. So whether we deepen in our trust for God or we let go more and more, it will lead to the same deepening of love and faith and trust in God.
He loves us so much that he shows us
Huh?
He loves us so much in this way, showing us that
Yes. Yeah.
we are nothing without him.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
Yes, this is good. This is good. So, this can be troublesome to the mind because the mind always says, what kind of God wants to show us that we are nothing without him? No? But a fact is a fact. And he wants to show us the truth.
This is so much love, Father, because
Yeah.
it's so, we can't do. Even this surrender, nothing can be done without him.
Yes.
I just pray that the stories let go of, and it's not about what happened yesterday or anything like that. And it's just moment to moment involvement,
Right?
just like to him moment to moment.
Oh, that's nice. So leave it to him or hold on to him. I can retire now. I'm done.
No. No. We need you.
Just to remind you that we have to leave it to him or hold on to him.
Yes. But pretty stupid like that, Father.
Same.
Very cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah. So if I retire from sharing satsang, then I would not have this opportunity to remind myself when I become very foolish, much more foolish than I am already.
I didn't understand that, what you said just
I
now.
said that these satsangs are as much reminder for me as well as any of you. We come to a point, and sometimes, very rarely I'm at this point where I'm just not willing to move without his will. Very rarely. Because the point is really that if he is here to move me or guide me, then what is my business to try and do it for myself? You see? It is only in the forgetting that he is that we bring ourselves to these points. Isn't it?
Can I bring something that happened in the morning?
Yeah, okay. And not
State that.
yeah. Otherwise? Acha. Oh, with the mic. I was wondering.
I was trying to come to this emptiness and I felt thoughts were coming so much. And I wanted to leaving it, that project.
You want to leave the leaving it.
Okay.
Just hold on to him.
Even empty, hold on to.
I don't okay, if you want to leave it, leave it and leave the holding on.
No, I don't know the question only for that. I was just stuck there. In the sense, I couldn't leave it. What can you say something about that? Like what in such situations? I just couldn't leave the thoughts. There were so many I felt. Then what?
Every satsang is about that. Like, couldn't leave the thought in the sense it has nothing which can hold on to you. We can hold on to it. I try to hold on to a thought. Really try. But it goes. Usually it is the repetitive nature that we call the not going. Has any thought come and stay?
No, but many come. I can't be empty. That's what I'm saying.
Many come at the same time?
One by one.
Bombarding it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go fast. How fast?
I can't do it. But it
Maybe your thought itself is saying it's too many. But how many can it produce? Suppose it's speaking, it's like a voice. So suppose it's really speaking fast. You're like this, you don't do like this, you can't do like this. How many will it produce? In fact, welcome it. Say, give me 100 thoughts in the next 10 seconds. Try. Or 100 thoughts in the next 1 minute. Try. Come, invite the mind. If you produce 100 thoughts in the next 1 minute, you will win my loyalty and allegiance forever. And when you put it under scrutiny like that, it slows down even much more. So when the thought says, but this is too many thoughts, how do I deal with this? Then that is the thought. That is the trouble, not the others which you don't remember at all anyway. The thoughts which are unimportant, you don't need to bother with.
It seemed difficult. I just leave that. I don't know why it was difficult. It just seemed difficult then.
So that you keep coming to satsang. It may seem easier here on some days at least.
Easier, yeah.
अगर रीजन ही चाहिए तो ये ठीक.
The stark contrast when I came to Satsang after a few minutes.
Father,
Yeah.
just want to thank you for everything,
You're welcome.
for all the blessings and grace.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, weak. Did we say we'll have Hindi when? Friday? Monday? When? Huh? One of the days we say? We'll announce Hindi from maybe Friday 7 to 7:30 we can have. You're going to church? Or you do different things? Okay, we'll see.
Maybe now.
It's Friday is the new Sunday. Ramayan? And Mahabharata is what? Mahabharata. Mahabharata. Huh? Narayan. So what is the biggest problem in spirituality that you're facing? I see.
These days, it's the inconsistency, Father. It's like a very very convenient spirituality. Whenever I feel, whenever I feel more drawn towards the heart, I do it. Like I sit with God and I pray to Him or do inquiry. And when there are times which requires me to be involved in any kind of a work activity or be with parents, then I feel that it's totally kept aside.
Yeah. And that is a challenging thing. For all our lives, this is the challenge. The subject can be different. For some it is work, for some it is relationship, for some it is some other important thing. But the learning and the attempt here is to just know that all that is good can only come from Him. And if I'm with Him, then bad cannot happen. Because our idea to leave God and to focus on something else is only based on the idea that I know what is needed to be done. Right now is the time for this. But if we leave it to Him and stay with Him, then that is quite a difficult challenge. It's not easy because it needs all that faith, all that patience, all that courage. Everything that we are learning about in spirituality comes to exercise in that moment where we decide to let go of my wanting, my will, and to stay with His will. So, every day a little more. That's all, every day a little more. Because if you put too much pressure on yourself that it has to be like this, then you make it all convoluted and difficult, or worse, we make it mental and then we do even less of staying with God.
The intention is always to be with God. I feel sometimes what happens at home with parents, they have a very different kind of an approach. So they do not even understand, what kind of spirituality we are following. So for them, it's like balance mein karo, and all that stuff. But to be honest, it's like here the balance itself doesn't.
So suppose you're talking
apply.
to parents.
Yes, Father?
Suppose you're talking to parents and they are around. But your heart is with God. And not lip service, but really. Like you're with God. Yeah. Do you feel like you will not be able to engage with them?
I will be able to.
You will be.
Yeah.
So life will always throw us many things. In everybody's life, it could be work, it could be relationship, it could be problems, it could be so many things. But and again, I'm not saying from a place of saying that it's very easy, but we know it is possible. So the attempt is to deepen in that.
Situations when there are times when I feel it's a very favorable moment, to really pray or to inquire. But I would rather do something from the mind, So those are moments, Father, I'm of late noticing it's happening too often, which was not the case earlier. So I really want to expose that and surrender it to you, Father.
Well, that is challenging. Yeah. Many times we also become more vigilant to these things. Like when we started coming to Satsang, we thought Satsang is something very different. Now we are realizing it's about every moment of our life. So as that is being seen more and more, the times where we make the choice to indulge in other things and not stay with God is also becoming more apparent. So that is why I also feel that at some level I feel like I'm deepening every day, and at some level I feel that I'm realizing how foolish I am much more every day. Like today I see how much more foolish I am than compared to yesterday. Because the stupidest things I leave God for, those become more and more apparent to us. Whereas earlier we just feel like, we didn't really get a sense truly of what the project is. So what it really means to remain in the unborn, what it really means to be fully open and empty, or to be surrendered to God, and what we can change that for the slightest provocation, for the slightest, just as if we are waiting for something to take the day, to dedicate the day to the mind. So, to the me, So at the end of the day belongs to me or God? That is the question.
Ananta-ji. I'm very, very happy about this question. And for me, it is really about the courage to be quiet. And it is actually being quiet is like to be alone also. And it means actually the faith. This is faith also. It's all the same. And so just to accept that I don't have to grasp. I don't have to grasp. I don't have to get. I don't have to justify, evaluate. I don't have to get, and just accepting that is so clear for me. But I just to surrender to that is actually what maybe it's what it is to be mature, is to have the complete evidence in the heart that nothing else leads anywhere. So that's the main hindrance, or the main obstacle, or however.
Very good. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
I just had this urge to just come. I don't know if it's like an exposure or something like this, but I just felt to come because I've been noticing that, like, because something here is always like turning towards like the source of like existence. Like, because there's a sense of like being that is here, and there's always a sense like, even though in the emptiness, there's a sense of like praying to God, like, like when you like say like the word of the name of God, and it helps you to stay like in formlessness, so, like just like formlessness. But I realized that when I'm like alone, like in like my room or something like this, it's easier to be fully, because to not hold on to anything and to like leave everything, compared to when I'm interacting with someone. The sense of like the humanness of myself, like it's like something is afraid to be fully naked when I'm like speaking to someone.
Yeah.
Like, because with you it's very easy because I know that if I say something crazy, something has a space to understand that. But with someone who is like, even if they may be religious or anything, but something doesn't, I still see that the words that are spoken, although it's coming from the heart, is still meaning that there's still like a personal sense of it. Although it's a purer sense, but it's still like, I don't know, like identity, like the sense of the human sense about it. And somehow, I don't know, it was just in here somehow. And I've also been seeing like this cross section between like just the formlessness and the sense of where, because I always also have, I don't know if it's like an attachment or something, because I like having the sense of being connected to God. Like, because, and I'm wondering if it's like a subtle falsehood that I'm buying into, or if it's really true. Because I don't always, something likes the sense of being connected to God, while I'm just staying like in just that
Yeah.
where everything arises. So like something like that just that's what I'm feeling of like because of how I also felt when like the source of existence. Because sometimes I feel like I'm just like this being, just this vastness, and I'm connected somehow to the unspeakable, which I refer to as Father. But other times it feels like when I'm identified, then through like the prayer, it helps in coming to like emptiness in the being. And I was saying this because one time, like Papa was saying something, Papa Moji was saying something in Satsang, and I don't quite remember what he said, but he just went straight inside. Like it showed that maybe it's still something that wants to have the sense of holding on to, like how you say, like hold on to him and stuff like that. And like, but it doesn't feel like it's totally like bad. You still feel like okay, but I just felt to bring it, and also because as well. Because like I still see that that's sometimes when I like leave God, and so that sense of wanting to be connected, feel connected to Him is, it seems like, I don't know, it just seems very like, and also because it's very difficult to explain this thing, but like when I'm just sitting or if I'm just walking somewhere and then I hear like the spirit comes through like your voice or something in just this space. What I don't know, like I cannot say what I am to be able to perceive that and where the position in which I am in. And also because the sense of like the humanness of myself is still is the human sense of like, although it's seen as also like a function arising in just being in the consciousness, which is constant. The sense of identity keeps coming in and going out, coming in and going out. But I don't know. I didn't even just want to just keep this in my heart. I just felt to just like pour it out to you and to just.
Very good, very good. So the utter nirguna nature of the self versus the holding on to the saguna, the boundless saguna nature of his being, his consciousness, which we often refer to as God, but actually it is not, it is the same one. So suppose that this is the waking state where the saguna and the nirguna is there, and God wants to withdraw some of the attributes of this existence, of this creation, So suppose that first he takes out the thumb of time. So time is gone. So in the human memory, it'll seem like all happened instantly, but suppose he took out time first. So now there's no time left. You see? So there's no moment passing between this and the rest. Then, so he remained the same, only that he took out time from the picture. Didn't he remain the same? Is it that he changed? No, he just took out one of his attributes, which is time. See, then suppose he takes out light, suppose he takes out sound, suppose he takes out gravity, suppose he takes out electricity. So like this, one, everything goes. You see? So at what point did he change into someone else? So he went from the full saguna to the full nirguna. Did he change into someone else in the process? You see? So a cruder example of that is like a turtle with legs out of the shell, or the turtle with legs in the shell. Still the same turtle, isn't it? So whether we're grasping onto the hand with full like this, fingers out, or we enjoy remaining in the nirguna, in the intuitive insight of nirvana Brahman, it is the same one. So we don't have to worry about attachment in this case, because even it is said that to be attached to one whose only job is to point to him is fine, because he'll take care of even that attachment. But to be attached to him, whether it is to be attached to him when he's presenting himself in this full way, or when he's presenting himself in this way, it makes no difference. So that was the first part of what was coming to share. The second part also is very beautiful in the sense of this exploration of where I am, what I am, who I am. We see that all of these ideas, like a question like where am I, is also very potent along with who am I. Like where am I? Where am I that is aware of myself being awareness? At what vantage point do I recognize that I am this pure awareness, empty of even I am? And from where do I recognize my being? Both are from the same non-place. It is only the instrument of holy light, the instrument of the Holy Spirit, the instrument of the Atma within, which shines a light on these things which are unfathomable. So it's very good to contemplate on these questions. Anything that brings us out, anything that we recognize very quickly that our intellect is not able to resolve, is a very good contemplation, because in the presence of the Sadguru, in his light, everything is truly known. But the false questions where it seems like our intellect has some ability to try and solve, they can trap us for a long time. That is why it's good to move to a question where we know very quickly that the intellect has no chance. No chance. It doesn't have to be a fancy sounding question. It's that the intellect has no chance. It could be very simple, like where am I sitting right now? Body is sitting here. Where am I? And once you get used to these questions, which are so heart felt, you feel them in the heart, then you will not be so interested in worldly things like gossip and what's happening with this one, what's happening with that one. It's uninteresting.
I master as well. I realized that somehow when if I'm speaking to someone who knew me when I was like a kid or something cannot refer anymore. So I sort of know what they mean, but it's like it's different. I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't have the same substance as it was before.
Yeah.
And also because there's also like a sense of like something is dissolving in terms of like what was conceived to be like real, and I don't know how to say it, but it's just different. And but I realize whenever like some sort of like sense of little fear starts to come, just in listening to your words or like praying to God about it, it somehow just like everything is fine. As long as, and that's why I was speaking about the sense of being connected to God, because it also in the inside as well, it gives a sort of, I don't know, it helps in putting like a solid foundation on my faith. Like it helps in the faith somehow. And even also in the outside as well, like sometimes the things happen that you can't really explain. But and when I read like I was very like this book, The Interior Castle, which you spoke of. My heart was, it's like everything she was saying was just ringing, like I was just like thank you, because it's like so true.
Yeah.
And I was so deeply amazed by how, because I wasn't expecting like a sage from like, because it seems very like localized, the Christian expression,
Correct.
and seeing how like her vastness, like I could even hear some like her joy and while I was writing the book and how she's trying to, despite the how the rigorous and the conformity of the religious expression, she's trying still to make people to go within and to really see this. I was like, wow. And when I'm reading, I always feel her presence so deeply as well. So amazing. And you showed me that in emptiness, like all the masters of our life, in the spirit, they're all alive.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
So welcome. So welcome. Radhishamji wants to come.
Ram brother,
Ram Ram, my dear.
कैसे हैं brother आप?
बहुत अच्छा, बहुत अच्छा.
Father, ऐसे तो मन बहुत बहुत अलग अलग सवाल खड़े करता रहता है और जब आपके सामने आता हूँ तो वो सारे प्रश्न खत्म हो जाते
तो बहुत आपके मन वैसे बहुत सवाल पूछता है, पर जब सत्संग में आप आ जाते हैं तो मन शांत हो जाता है. हाँ?
हैं.
आज क्या पूछ रहा था? सत्संग आने से पहले क्या पूछ रहा?
आज प्रश्न तो 2-3 पूछ रहा था. जैसे पूछ रहा था कि हम ऐसे क्या गलती कर रहे हैं जिससे हमें
हाँ, क्या गलती? माइंड
ऐसी गलती कर रहे हैं जो हमें प्रभु की प्राप्ति नहीं हो रही।
मैं ऐसी क्या गलती कर रहा हूँ जिससे मुझे, जिसकी वजह से प्रभु प्राप्ति नहीं हो रही? ये था सवाल।
एक मिनट।
ये था सवाल। मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको?
हाँ अभी आ रही है।
हाँ, मैं पूछ रहा था कि आपका सवाल ये था कि आप ऐसी कौन सी गलती कर रहे हैं जिससे आपको प्रभु प्राप्ति नहीं हो रही?
हाँ,
अच्छा। तो ऐसा क्या होना चाहिए जिससे आपको लगेगा कि मुझे प्रभु जी की प्राप्ति हो गई है?
नहीं, ऐसा तो कोई प्रमाण नहीं है।
ऐसा कोई प्रमाण? देखो, जैसे एक मंदिर है हमारे घर के पास, हाँ? तो वहाँ पे हमारी आस्था है कि प्रभु जी रहते हैं। तो अगर हम वहाँ जाएं और एक दिन ऐसा हो कि जो गर्भगृह होती है जहाँ प्रभु जी हैं, वहाँ पे लाइट नहीं है, लाइट चली गई, तो कुछ दिखाई नहीं दे रहा, तो क्या इसका ये मतलब होता है कि भगवान नहीं है वहाँ पे? या सिर्फ इसका ये मतलब होता है कि अभी वहीं पे हैं पर उनके दर्शन नहीं मिल रहे, है ना? तो अगर हम ये आस्था रखेंगे कि चाहे दिखें या ना दिखें, प्रभु जी तो हैं ही हमारे हृदय के मंदिर में, हमेशा रहते हैं, और हम जब भीतर जाएं, अंदर अपने जाएं, तो ये आस्था कभी ना टूटे। तो इसी आस्था में रहने को प्रभु जी की प्राप्ति कहते हैं। तो प्रभु जी की प्राप्ति को छोड़कर आप उनके हो जाओ। ये मत सोचो कि प्रभु जी मेरे हो जाएं, ये सोचो कि मैं उनका कैसे हो जाऊं। क्या आप उनके हो?
हाँ हाँ जरूर।
हाँ। तो जितने आप उनके हो उससे ज़्यादा वो आपके हैं। तो जब भी ऐसा लगे कि मुझे क्यों नहीं मिल रहे भगवान, तो अपने आप को और उनके ऊपर न्यौछावर करो, सरेंडर करो, बस। और क्या कर, और तो कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते वैसे। तो ऐसा अभी हमारे जीवन में क्या है जो हमने उनको पूरी तरह से दिया नहीं, जिसके बारे में हम सोच के परेशान हो जाते हैं। हम सोचते हैं कि हम सोच के करेंगे, उनको वो सब देना ज़रूरी है। जितने जितना हम अपने आप को भगवान को देंगे, उतना ऐसा हमें पता चलेगा कि वो हमारे ही हैं। Okay, very good. Let's go to Lorena. Does she want to come, or is the hand by mistake? Maybe.
Oh, I think it was by mistake.
Say again, my dear. We didn't hear you.
I think my hand was raised by mistake. I don't see it.
By mistake. That's good. At least I
Yes,
get to
but
speak
it's
to
good.
you.
I'm here. All satsangs.
Yes, I
I
see.
follow. Yes, I follow you with
Yes.
all my heart and all my power. Even if sometimes I don't know how can I express this. It seems like I cannot hear you. Yes.
Yeah.
It happens when you switch from Advaita to prayer.
Yeah.
And I came with Advaita formation, I
Yeah.
believe.
I also came with
It's
Advaita formation.
yes. It seems I don't know. I hear you, but I can. It's like I cannot hear you.
Yeah, I understand.
And but I apply what you said, and I start to pray. I discover ADS, but ADS it's I don't know, the prayer of the heart in Orthodox religion.
Yes, exactly.
And with this YouTube show me Romanian monks who were retreat and practice this prayer, and it was very, very interesting because now for instance, and before and even now maybe I don't have some resonance with this kind of teachings.
Yeah.
For me, it seems like a foreign language.
Yes.
I couldn't understand. But even now, I translate this kind of teachings in Advaita language, so to speak. Yeah. But I try not to. Yes.
Are you Romanian? Do you speak Romanian?
Yes, Romanian.
I
Yes.
see. They're very some very famous monks, no? And Romanian Orthodox. Very good, very good.
Yes, yes.
Very
I find a monk. His name is Proclu. The father Proclu, who stayed isolated for many years and for his rest of in mountains, and he returns to sister's house and go spend all his day inside of his room, one room, and pray all the time. And he was visited by some television, and he doesn't want to speak with them, but after all, he speaks and he said, you keep me from praying. Yes, I lost my time with you.
I love
Yes.
that. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's really nice. This is the thing about the Orthodox monks I've seen, that they're so committed to prayer and to God. It is very beautiful. But it's just so astounding that there is so much beauty, so much love for God everywhere. You see, in all traditions in India, there are so many branches of Sanatan Dharma, Hinduism as we call it, and in Christianity, so many beautiful teachers and branches. Everything then in Islam, in Sufism, in Sikhism, it is so beautiful that sometimes I don't know if I said in Satsang, but sometimes I feel like I don't want this to be my last life because I want more lives to be able to immerse myself in so much love for God, which these sages inspire us to feel in all traditions. It's so beautiful. It's very good. I'm very glad. Very good. We were watching something. We were watching some Romanian monk the other day. Getting the name.
And it was Cleopa Fathers who said the main teaching is to look the death in, to live with death in your face, the highest teaching.
Yes.
And he said if he has to give advice to someone, it will be patience, patience, patience.
Very good. Very good. Live with death in your face. Yes. Facing death all the time is a very beautiful pointer. Patience, of course, is very beautiful. This is the one that we were watching, and he just when he when he finished talking, he just said, "Yeah, I'm just a filthy beggar" or something like that. Is it?
Yes.
Cleopa.
Cleopa.
Yeah. Same one. Very, very good. The extent of depth of love, depth of knowledge that some of them have, and yet the tremendous humility is very inspiring.
And it's a struggle for me too to don't try to understand the prayer. Just to try to don't understand, and I watching myself sometimes when I pray, when I say the words of the prayer, that the mind try to grasp some meanings, some.
Which words are a struggle? Sinner? Sinner is still
No,
a struggle?
no, sinner, no, because it's very clear what sinner is. Yes, and in the Orthodox traditions, they said that they cry a lot, and I cannot grasp this. Only maybe I understand that's like something they cry because they could see the sinner type of the human nature, maybe like this. I understand, because if you believe you are human, you make mistakes or sins automatically, you know.
It's yeah. So this crying and praying, it's very much there in the Bhakti movement in India as well. Many sages have said just to cry for God is enough, and to cry remembering Him is enough. But in this case, you're right that to see the contrast between His beauty and our stubborn insistence to follow our will can bring us to that sort of state. And many times I've heard them talk about the Jesus prayer, the prayer of the heart, done in this kind of way, with full intensity in the heart, just helps to open up something. So it's a beautiful path. There was a book that we were reading. Was it The Watchful Mind? It is very good about all these topics. I don't know if you've heard of it. And The Watchful Mind. Maybe we can share a link. But it's a beautiful book. And this is also anonymous. They don't, so much humility that many times they create these beautiful scriptural works and they don't even put their names, they just leave them anonymous. So very beautiful. It's a beautiful path. And I'm glad in some way that in coming to Satsang, you also got introduced or reintroduced to the orthodox way.
Unknowingly. Like I came here to, yes, I came here and I follow you and I just follow you. I love you so much.
I love you too. Thank you, Adi.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you put up your hand by mistake.
By mistake, I don't realize it.
I love these mistakes.
Thank you.
It's very
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Samiya's back.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, my dear.
I feel like I'm just unburdened. It just needed to play out because I was feeling its pressure. And I feel more than good now because I just wanted to come to say, I don't know what does it mean to come up and say, but I just wanted to say without a doubt, I'm choosing God.
Very good.
Without any doubt. I mean, of course. Yeah, it's just unburdened me a lot, Father. And what I wanted to say is that, as you always said, not even his gifts, not at all. And yeah, it seems like I feel like, yeah, just this. I love him.
That's very nice. Very nice. I'm very happy to hear that.
Not even his gifts, Father. All the gifts he has given me, I just give them all back to him. And he knows what to do. I don't care. But I am so grateful. I thank him for all the gifts. I enjoy them, but the rest is in his hands. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very happy to hear this.
Me too.
Thank you.
I love you, Father. Thank you. Bless you.
Bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Was it something I said, or what happened to this room? We can sing, somebody left to sing the Hanuman Chalisa. One of these satsangs, it'll just be me left alone.
No. Today I reached at 4:30 and there was nobody here. For 20-25 minutes there was nobody. I was wondering whether there was satsang.
Sign of things to come, hopefully. It'll be very nice. I just go open the door, nobody's here, I can just go back. Huh? Huh? You just, with online, I just connect on my bed.
Shri Guru Charana Saroj Naja Nij Mana Mukur Sudhari Rama Nij Mana Mukur Sudhari Panaro Raghubar Bimala Jasu Jodhaya Kripalachari Tulsi Jodhaya Kripalachari बुद्धिहीन तनु जान के सुमिरो पवन कुमार रामा सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहे हरहु कलेश विकार तुलसी हरहु कलेश विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन वरन विराज सुबेसा कानल कुंडल कुंजित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जलावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाए संजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि संभाई सहस बदन तुमरो यश गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अनीसा यम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीना राम मिलाए राजपद दीना तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र योजन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मिल मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम रे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी शरण तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संहारो आपे तीनों लोक हाँकते कापे, भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे। महावीर जब नाम सुनावे, नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा। जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा, संकट से हनुमान छुड़ावे। मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे, सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा। तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा, और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे। सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे, चारों युग प्रताप तुम्हारा। है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा, साधु संत के तुम रखवारे। असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे, अष्ट सिद्धि नव निधि के दाता। असवर दीन जानकी माता, राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा। सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा, तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे। जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे, अंत काल रघुवीर पर जाई। जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई, और देवता चित्तन धरहि। हनुमत से सर्व सुख करहि, संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा। जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा, जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई। कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई, जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई। छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई, जो यह पर हनुमान चालीसा। होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा, तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा। की जय नाथ हृदय महाडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम। मंगल मूर्ति रूप, राम लखन सीता सहित। हृदय बसौ सुरभूप, तुलसी हृदय बसौ सुरभूप।